All right, I think it's time here. So we're gonna do a quick leaderboard review. Make sure we get it on the stream. We've got a few interesting updates. So I think this is our first review since the big change here. So I'm just gonna, summarize this the best way that I can. So Pasticcio stepped down yesterday was the post on Discord. The statement was basically that he was opting out and taking an extended break. And his plan, according to his message, was that he would come back in a year and see if there's any content worth doing. So I think somewhere closer to being bored than burnt out. But yeah, an interesting message to put in that public Discord coming from the rank 1. So our understanding now is that Irksum is now in the rank 1 position and Pasticcio may be stagnating at 4269. We'll see if he moves from that number, but that seems to be the case right now. So looking at Hopeport, a lot of change here. Small is only 415 levels from hitting max here. MOBA did claim their fishing levels and has been pushing through fishing, and currently they are only about 581 levels away. So I think we will see Hopeport starting to close out probably in about a month. I think Small will be getting rank 1 done. Pretty exciting there. Now, if we want to look at anything like guard, like we'd just be looking at density at this point, but about 520 people have 200 plus. I can't tell you exactly how many 500s, but it looks like Keenan at 490 is at rank 32. So we may already be at about 30 level 500 guards. Pretty crazy. Chef, we just saw recently Kuramori yesterday hitting 500. That means there are only 6 spots on the Chef leaderboard left. If we want to look down the Chef leaderboard, it looks about 275 have 200 or higher Chef. And we can see Kel's at rank 23, already at 424. So a lot of momentum pushing up on the Chef leaderboard right now. We know Hustler was trying to get into that top group, but a lot of big grinders in that top of the Chef board. So pretty exciting seeing all the people pushing there. Fisher's another interesting one. We saw Bless You just hit 500. We've been doing a lot of fishing with Joey. I've seen Grizzly Bear quite a bit as well, as we just finished personally doing our push toward the venture for the 226 oyster. This gets us like almost 1 million XP every 24-hour period. Very, very advisable for anyone who's looking for a good venture. Very minimal effort to get some free XP. Now in the Fisher density, we see about 177 people with 200 plus, and yeah, as of the current time of this recording, there are 9 level 500 Fishers, and rank 20 sits at 354. So still a little bit of time. Fisher may be the second to last leaderboard to fill in Hopeport. Now Forager, we know, finished recently. Personally, we're in a little bit of a situation of like, how much do we care about these next 3 ranks? I've been working on Alchemy primarily with a little bit of focus on fishing to try and make sure we don't enter our Alchemy race as well as the KP generation for Alchemy. Now, the real trick here is that I have to try and figure out if that's like important to me, because we're also looking at Alchemy. But I guess the density on Forager is not super crazy. There's about 239 above level 200, and it looks like 423 is getting you rank 26 here. So a lot of people above 400 Forager as well. I think a lot of people getting KP from this. We've seen like people like Nairota, and now Casey's getting into episode 1. So a lot of new faces kind of joining in the Forager grind pretty much across the board. Alchemy, we are at 8 currently. Sorry, 9, I believe. I was thinking there was another one on this list. But yeah, once Kale hits, there will be about 10 spots left for Alchemy to be completed here. Now, what this means is that out of the current grouping, we're at the bottom of this list. So personally, we were looking like at the ranks below us, right? We're trying to see what are the different trajectories of these players behind us. We actually just passed Yake like an hour ago, so Yake in my brain is still ahead of me, but we can essentially afford for 2 people who are currently below us to not be below us, right? And what that means is between Yake, Sash, and basically Zoe. We know Menace has been kind of taking it easy. Coffee, and so Coffee is completely opted out or checked out of the game. Webster has been focusing on episode 4, and I don't think Pipsqueak has moved a whole lot. So some of these guys are just passiving, but yeah, some interesting activity there. About 186 people have 200 plus on Alchemy. As for the big dogs here, yeah, 321 is going to get you rank 20. So recapping Hopeport overall, some new faces showing up on the overall list. A lot of people pushing upwards. I know we saw Leah pushing all the way up to rank 13. We've seen Empo at 1407. So ITI is about to hit 1500, but Omega overtook ITI maybe 2 or 3 days ago. Now ITI is actually on pace to pass us, but it wouldn't happen for quite a while. And if I kind of pick up my pace a little bit or they slow down, we might still be good. But as of now, I'm not really trying to change my plans, but we may be increasing our hours a little bit more than the recent period. So an interesting kind of race up here in the top 5 or so, beyond 1500. 1131, I'm not sure which anon this is, but 1131 is going to get you rank 20 on the Hopeport list. Scout filled up quite a while ago. As for like the density at the very top of this, I couldn't quite tell you. Yeah, there's at least around 25 or so level 500 scouts. Looks like 27 ranks is currently sitting at 415. So a little bit of some competition still at the top there, but maybe not so crazy. Yo, hello Omega. Hello. Hope you're well, dude. Now, if we want to continue here. Yeah, interesting number there. So what this is showing is that there are about 307 accounts with 200 plus forage, or sorry, this is scout. And I'm surprised that, like, I don't know, that seems like kind of a large number for scout, right? But I guess people grinding combat using that KP, it kind of makes sense that those people are going to be pushing into 200 for some of those free levels. Sorry, we skipped Gatherer here. So Gatherer currently has 12 level 500s. I think, yeah, after Variety hit 500, we've seen Greybeard and this Anonymous. Reminiscence is about to hit 500 pretty soon here, next few days. But rank 20 is down at 310. Webster, not as high, relatively. There's kind of a little bit of fall off here. So curious how the density is beyond rank 20, but definitely some room here. If we want to look at the density below the top 20, right now about 100 people at 200 plus. And yeah, a little bit less competition in Gather. Gather's been empty for like the whole time, so this makes sense. Woodcutter, we have 7 level 500s. We know Sap did get 500 Carp and Woodcut done. A lot of big dogs up here in the higher part of this list. We know Nat is currently opted out. Rank 20 on Woodcutter is at 349. And as for the density for this one, it looks like we are looking at about 120 players at 200 plus woodcutting. Now we're going to keep going here. After Woodcut, we have Carpenter. Carpenter, we now have 4 level 500s. So Malazetic, Raka, and now Howard has hit 500. Next 500 won't be a little bit until Nat gets there. Looks like Ape is also pushing up though. Not too far behind. After, yeah, about rank 12, there's a pretty massive drop off here. This is an important like 40 levels. So it seems like the top 12 are kind of pushing on a certain pace, but I'm not really convinced any of these people below the top 12 are pushing that aggressively. So Carpenter may be one of the last races to fill top 20. We'll see. As for density on Carpenter, I don't think it's moved too much since our last review. About 90 players maybe at 200 plus, not too bad. After Carpenter, we will check the Hope Forest overall. So Nat is almost up to 1700. This number is kind of important because Hope Forest only has 4 professions. This means that they're only 307 levels away from capping Hope Forest. This race will definitely be an interesting one to see how people kind of close some of these gaps here. It sounds like Monster Girl is slowing down. Apathetic's kind of like reevaluating all the adjustments and what they're going to do after. It sounds like maybe some focus on Hopeport. So it should be interesting. Omega says, ever since I started grinding for 500 guard, I have more respect for people who got that garbage up all the way. Yeah, it seems that there's a lot of variance on the gear that people get, right? That was my experience personally with a combat stat, especially before potions were really introduced, right? As like a strength bonus equalizer. But yeah, only 888 on the bottom of the Hope Forest grind. I think Zephyr, my buddy, I'm gonna have to message him and see if he's still playing, but he might be taking some time away from the game. But a lot of these people make sense where they're on the list. They're already at 500 in some other stat. A lot of these are 500 scouts. Some interesting balance of gamers there. But yeah, it looks like, yeah, after like Howard, a little bit of fall off there. Sap is definitely climbing. Curious how Sap's going to be pushing. They do have 214 Gatherer now, but they still have a really low Scout. So interesting if they're going to be pushing later. We'll keep going here. We have episode 3 to jump into. We'll start with Minefighter. Now, Minefighter is our last combat stat that is not top 20'd all the way through. Looks like a really interesting time to pull this up. We have 499 rank 14 and 498 rank 15. So recent 500s would be Mystic Alia. Then you had Hardcorn, you have ATF and Lusty Fro. And the two that are right on deck, we got QQ Ninja and ER Weir. Maybe it's like a Veer. I don't even know how to say that. And then, yeah, we have a few people here, 431 plus. So I don't think Britain's moved in the longest time. It's so sad to see that name not make it to the top. But yep, that seems to be the way that the cookie is crumbling there. As for density on Minefighter, we have 249 players with 200 plus Minefighter. Not too shabby. Crazy that it's going to take this long, though. We'll look at Bone right next. We've got just variety MMOs. The Soul Gatherer who banked all their bones. QQ Ninja at 356. Red Bean at 336. Pretty impressive. Rank 20 on Bone Right is currently at 260. Quite a gap there. Now, we can check the density real quick on Bone Right. I feel like if we're not checking this density, then what are we even checking, right? Eventually all these top 20s will fill up and it won't even be that interesting. So 94 people with 200 plus. Kaylin's right there, 97 at 198. So Tell as well. Interesting, we see Tell of the Telltales podcast, Tales from the Shores. Pretty exciting. A lot of people on that list we recognize. On Minor, we have 7 level 500s now. So Nairoda and now Orsum. We have Laggy Snake and Lusty Argonian not too far away. Little gap here for 2-tap and Walla Walla. The last spots here, Plays and Lavanio. Yogo-sun still pushing up, by the way. This is the OG Yogo-sun from like 2006-07 RuneScape meta. Ross gets on here, opted in, nice to see. Tora, a name to note. They are a guard who basically invested into mining and blacksmithing, so they've been doing like a little bit of a invested and then an assisted grind with mining. So interesting one there as well. So 337 at rank 20 for Miner. Now rank about 153 is the cutoff for 200 plus. About 153 players with 200 plus mining. We have Blacksmith. As mentioned, we knew the first couple here, Lester Argonian and Natok, both at 500 Blacksmith now. This was our last 500 to get. Tora is the name we just mentioned. Tora is at 383. That's one of the people doing like a combo grind. But yeah, Walla Walla, shout out to Walla Walla, friend of the stream. At 397, definitely got a nice little lead here. About 100 levels to go. And rank 20 does fall off quite a bit around, yeah, it looks like after Roska, there's a 39 level gap here. And then it does taper off. So rank 20 Blacksmith is currently at 261. That is Sharon. Not super high still. So most of these crafting professions seeming to have a lot of potential for some good races later down the road. As for density for blacksmithing, we can see that there are currently 118 people. I would even guess it's closer to about 125 people considering Kaylin's 199 here. 125 or so, 200 plus blacksmithers. Stonemason, similar position. We've got Strafe, rank 1 at 500. Dalton, we just talked to in stream today at 498, you guys. Absolutely goated, about to be one of our next 500s as well. Dalton one of the 2 opters that basically just totally like crushed the Stonemason race. 2 tap though, not too far behind at 451. Definitely impressive. Rosket not far behind as well. A couple opters in here, but rank 20 on the Stonemason list is going to put them down to 250. So Blacksmith, Stonemason, Carpentry, Bonewright, these are going to be our last 4 to fill up top 20 almost assuredly. As for the density for Stonemason, we are currently sitting at about 110 or so players at 200 plus Stonemason. These ones are interesting too, because it makes you think about how many people can actually create the gear that we're all going to be competing for later. And to close out episode 3, we have the Mines of Mantuban overall list. Rosket at 1492, very impressive number, but we know Rosket has been spending some time doing, look at this, 230 fishing, very impressive. Also 105 Forager. So Rosket, I think, unlocking that fishing venture, looking at the overall. We know Rosket was like one of the top ranked players in Enfinod, top combat player. Very, very massive amount of respect for this player and what they're capable of doing. Definitely like in the top 5 of like the whole game as far as I'm concerned. So definitely got to keep our eyes out for what Rosket's up to. After Rosket, we saw Red Bean on that list as well. So some big gamers in the mines. Red Bean maybe focusing more on the mines than the overall race. Tengoku, a couple hundred levels behind, so pretty interesting top 2 there. We'll see if Red Bean wants to kind of outperform for the episode race. But a lot of friends of the stream in this list. A lot of cool peeps here. We see Natok up at 1106. They got a couple of those hard 500s. But then we have names like Unbe, these overall levelers who are just absolutely killing it. Vorpal in there as well, Chino. So yeah, about 61 levels above the 200 average already for a top 20 spot in the mines. Getting a little bit tighter as we have pushed forward here. Now, for episode 4, we will start with Watchperson, as always. Watchperson was our first leaderboard that actually filled up a top 20. We don't technically... I don't know why I can't click this button. We don't technically know if Guard would have been first if Opters were visible because of how many Opters there were in Guard. Because for whatever reason, there were no Opters on the Watchperson leaderboard. But yeah, we saw Tolkien get that rank 20 spot. That's a former Genfinotter as well. But as for density on Watchperson, all I can really say is that there are more 200 Watchperson than I think any other 200. I believe even more than Guard. There are currently 750 or so 200 plus Watchperson. Absolutely crazy. That's a lot of accounts. Maybe these are some alts or something. Like who really knows, right? But that's still very impressive to see quite so many. A lot of people on this list that we are aware of. So yeah, you can see Twill at 429 is rank 38. So we presume there may even be upwards of 30 level 500 Watchperson now. Not really sure how to confirm that number without knowing the people who are around that like rank 28 mark. Detective, we see there are now 15 level 500 detectives, so only 5 spots remaining on the detective top 20 leaderboard. As for the density on detective, we can see there are 588, upwards of 600 accounts with 200 detective, excuse me. Ghost Rags, our buddy here, at 197 is at 605. So kind of crazy to see that many people pushing quite so high. None New Business says 31 500 Watchmen, rank 27, full visibility. Thank you so much. Appreciate that feedback. And they are filling up quickly on B. Very, very true. It's definitely like a bullish indicator though to see more people pushing even when the leaderboards are full. Because it means people are still caring about the ranks. Like that's the RuneScape effect, right? It's that you could like log in and see like, oh, I went up from rank 10,000 to 9,500. I passed 500 people. Like that's what it's going to be about, right? And I think that's what people wanted leaderboards for. As for Leatherworker, we can see there's now 13 level 500s. So Miles hit level 500 Leatherworker. Very curious if anybody knows if Miles has been banking hides or selling them. But yeah, Miles is one of the crazy grinders. We know KC did get 500 all very recently. The banking, it sounds like banking is the answer for Miles. Very interesting. Definitely some overall grinding there, considering the armor profession coming from episode 5. This all checks out. But yeah, rank 20 Leatherworker is at 366. Impaler on the list, looking like he's fighting for a spot. Wish I knew the absolute best, dude. As for the density beyond that, we can see about 180 or so accounts at 200 plus Leatherworker. It's kind of a lot. That's more than all these crafting skills by a pretty healthy margin. So it seems that the Leatherworker merchant dream is alive and well. Lots of people pushing deep into that. But yeah, I think it's kind of wild to see people prepping for episode 5 versus like people just trying to get a ton of money, right? It's like two different schools of thought kind of like coming together to play out like how people are going to look at the grind. So interesting to watch as it happens. We may be jumping into merchant leatherworker ourselves at some point here pretty soon. And last profession, but not least, we do have merchant, which also has been filling up quite well. Another Anon filling in after KC here. So there are currently only the 6 remaining spots, 15 through 20, to get the last spots for merchant top 20. As for the density on merchant, we are now up to about 300 level 200 plus merchants. It's kind of surprising, but for all the people that I go and tell, like, yeah, like the best money in the game is like doing leatherworking once you've done merchant. So like, if you haven't tried episode 4, like this is where we want to try and push people. So yeah, I would recommend people to try out episode 4 and get on that merch grind because money is good. And we got the Chronopolis episode 4 leaderboard to make sure we've covered here. We got to give the shout out to KC. I don't think KC had hit it quite when we made our leaderboard review 4 days ago. Or maybe I'm misspeaking here, but yeah, grats again to KC. I'll say grats for like the next 5 reviews probably, but absolutely insane. Still the only person who has completed an entire leaderboard. The episodes with 4 skills are a little bit more accessible, so we would expect the 4s to get done before the 5s. I think Nat was probably going to be our next one, but it also looks like Small is about a month out as well. So I'm curious to see just how hard everybody's going to go and how this all will play out. It's very, very interesting. But after KC, you guys, we have Old Schooled at 1810. Only 190 levels to go. So our next episode completer may be Old Schooled. And even Sanhei at 1689, that's only 311 levels, which could be as short as 15 days or so. So many people pushing up in a crazy speed. Miles, can't exclude him. The things that people are doing, locking in these leaderboards makes a lot of sense. Kyle Hans at 1176 is currently at rank 20 for Kren, which is quite high if you think about only 4 professions. That means they are almost at 300 average to get a top 20 in Kren. So curious when rank 20 on Kren will fill. Like it might actually be way sooner than we think. Like I would think it's under 3 months. I don't know if it's under 2 months, but it's somewhere in that range of like maybe like 1.5 to 3 months. It's just really hard to say how hard everyone's gonna go. You think Kyle might have stopped playing? He still comments on my YouTube videos. I don't know. Maybe you're right though. Maybe he took a step back or he's just chilling. But yeah, thanks for the feedback though. Interesting. So yeah, many spots there. I guess if we want to check density, how many 800 plusers you guys think? Looks like about 150 800 plus in Kren. That's insane. That is insane. There's like so much less people in the other episode races. Like if we compare that number, like the 1,000 average in Hopeport is only 53 people. Like that's a crazy difference. It's like 3 times more people got 200 all in episode 4. But hey, there's one less profession, and maybe they're better or more accessible or easier or whatever, faster, more money. Like I don't know how you want to say it, but I am surprised by that number being as large as it is. Chronopolis will be a fun one. I think this will be by far the first episode leaderboard to fill, so we'll be curious to see just how quickly that one does get occupied. And last but not least, we kind of opened with it, we'll also close with it. We've got the top player review. You guys, Pasticcio, as of yesterday, to repeat, did decide to step away. We don't know how long term this decision is, but it was made on Discord in a very public manner, and it sounds like he's either leveling up an alt or taking a different approach to the game for a little bit. But by and large, we know that Pasticcio is now rank 2. Rank 1 is now irksome. Rank 3, Unbi, as mentioned in the chat, might be lowering his hours as well. Vorpal, pushing like a madman. We have a bunch of people here, like we got Meadow, we got Empathetic, we got A bunch of grinders in here that we expect to push. But also we have a handful of people that may be slowing down after 3600. So as of now, another number we're going to be tracking going forward is the 3600 plus group. This indicates the number. Oh man, we might mess up here. But the 3600 group is important. I think we definitely botch, just barely too. It's only because we action queued and we don't have a cancel. But yeah, the 3600 plus group is going to be the number that we want to track, because if we have, you know, 18 professions at 200 each, 3600 is kind of your benchmark for when the game's just going to get a lot slower for people. So I think, yeah, as we get, you know, the next 3 months or so that pass, we should be expecting to see content like trading and the combat rework. And then hopefully once episode 5 rolls around, we'll have like a bit of an economy established. Maybe some feeling of like the game differences between Iron Man and regular. But yeah, right now there are 16 people with that 3600 mark achieved. Rank 20 is sitting at 3339. So only a few more days left until we see a 3600 all total level leaderboard. And then from there, it only gets harder as we approach the race toward 9,000. 9,000. Can you guys even imagine like that number being real? But someone will get there. Like, give it a year, I'm telling you. I think Small will be there by like February of next year if nobody else gets it. My best guesses are Small, Rosket, and Miles. And Irksome, of course, has to be there. But I'm telling you, those are like 4 names to just keep an eye out for. And we have to leave Nat on there as well. But sheesh. Sheesh. Some gamers, you guys. Some absolute units. But we like to keep these videos concise, short and concise. Anyway, thanks guys. We'll catch you in the next one. We'll be live on